Have you ever been asked to be a sperm donor in the middle of a Home Depot? Last Tuesday, I was in the lumber aisle comparing pressure-treated 2x4s when a woman in her 30s approached me. Professional blazer, designer purse, looked completely out of place between the sawdust and power tools. She stared at me for an uncomfortable 10 seconds before asking, "Excuse me, are you Dylan?" I wasn't Dylan, but something about her desperation made me pause. Depends who's asking. Her eyes lit up. "Oh, thank God. I'm Patricia. From the agency? I know we were supposed to meet at the coffee shop, but I saw you walk in here and thought," she gestured vaguely at the lumber. "Maybe you needed supplies first?" Now, a normal person would have corrected her immediately, but I'd been unemployed for 3 months, and honestly, I was curious where this was going. "Right, the agency," I said, nodding like I knew what she meant. Patricia glanced around nervously. "I know this is unconventional, but my husband is in the car. He wanted to meet you before we proceed. Would you mind?" Against every reasonable instinct, I followed her through the store. She talked the entire way. "Your profile was exactly what we were looking for. 6'2", brown hair, athletic build, and the fact that you're an engineer. Keith has a master's in engineering too." Engineer? I dropped out of community college to become a plumber, but I kept walking, past the paint section, through garden supplies. An elderly employee watched us with raised eyebrows. In the parking lot, a man sat in a silver BMW, looking like he'd rather be anywhere else. Patricia knocked on his window. "Keith, honey, this is Dylan." Keith examined me like I was livestock at an auction. "He's shorter than his profile said." "I'm having an off day," I offered, which made no sense, but Patricia laughed nervously. Keith stepped out, circled me slowly. "You said you played college basketball?" "I hadn't touched a basketball since 8th grade. Intramurals," I lied. "What was your GPA?" 3.8, I pulled from thin air. Patricia beamed. "See, Keith? I told you he was perfect." She turned to me. "We've been trying for 5 years. 3 rounds of IVF, 2 miscarriages. The doctors say using a donor is our best option." My stomach dropped. This wasn't a job interview or some weird MLM pitch. These people wanted my genetic material. Keith pulled out his phone. "The agency said you were willing to do fresh donations instead of frozen. Higher success rate. We'd pay extra, of course. $20,000 for exclusive rights." $20,000. My beat-up truck needed a new transmission. My rent was 2 months overdue, but I wasn't Dylan, and this was getting too real. "Listen," I started, but Patricia grabbed my hands. "I know this is awkward, meeting in a Home Depot parking lot, but when I saw you in there, looking at lumber, I thought, this is a man who builds things, who creates." Tears formed in her eyes. "We just want to create a family." Before I could respond, a voice called out, "Patty? Keith?" We all turned. A man walked toward us, tall, athletic, wearing a polo shirt that said, "Dylan Morrison, personal trainer." The real Dylan. Patricia's face went white. She looked between us rapidly. "But you said—" "I got stuck in traffic," real Dylan explained. "Why are you at Home Depot?" "We agreed to meet at Starbucks." Keith studied me with new suspicion. "Then who the hell are you?" "Jerome," I admitted. "Unemployed plumber. I was just buying lumber for my mom's deck." The silence stretched forever. Patricia still held my hands. Keith's face turned red. Real Dylan looked confused. Then Patricia started laughing. Not polite laughter, but deep, hysterical cackling. "I almost paid a random plumber $20,000 for his sperm." Keith cracked next, doubling over. Even real Dylan chuckled. I stood there, unsure whether to run or join in. "I'm so sorry," I managed. "I should have said something sooner." Patricia wiped her eyes. "No, I'm sorry. I basically assaulted you with my fertility trauma in a hardware store." We talked for another 10 minutes. Turns out real Dylan was everything they wanted. Tall, athletic, educated, but as they prepared to leave for their actual meeting, Patricia pulled me aside. "Jerome, thank you for being kind when you could have been cruel, for letting a desperate woman ramble about her dreams to a stranger." She pressed something into my hand. "For your mom's deck." It was a Home Depot gift card for $500. Real Dylan shook my hand. "Weird way to meet, but hey, if this works out, maybe we'll name the kid Jerome." They drove off together, heading to Starbucks to discuss creating life. I went back inside and bought the lumber, plus a new drill set. 3 months later, I was installing a bathroom in a client's house when I got a text from an unknown number, an ultrasound photo. The message read, "It worked. Thank you for making me laugh on one of the scariest days of my life. P.S. Keith says you can keep the gift card. Patricia." I keep that photo in my wallet. Not because I had anything to do with it, but as a reminder that sometimes the best thing you can do for someone is just play along with their case of mistaken identity until the universe sorts itself out. And yes, they did name him Jerome.